So Huawei recently launched its latest mid-range mobile, the Huawei Mate 20 Lite, and already it's looking bang out of date thanks to this little bleeder here, the Honor Play, which costs £100 less than the Mate 20 Lite and yet rocks better specs. And although it's been marketed as a smartphone for gamers, this 6.3-inch blower will grease the melons of anyone after a great value big screen device. Now I've been using the Honor Play on and off as my full-time device in between other review smartphones and for a full week when I first got my hands on it as well, and I've also been using it as a secondary smartphone for gaming on the go. And a full month after I first pulled it out of its box, I can definitely assert that the Honor Play is stunning value for money. Here's my full in-depth Honor Play review, and don't forget to poke subscribe for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech. Cheers. So the version of the Honor Play that I have is the Player Edition, which sports a very funky, revamped design compared with the standard Honor Play. Frankly, I'm not entirely sure about that microchip styling. It does look like the kind of thing you would see painted on the side of a computer in the original Star Trek series. Thankfully it is subtle enough that you kind of forget about it and it's not really noticeable when you're out and about in public unless somebody squints really close at your handset. And that coloured trim around the fingerprint sensor and the camera grille definitely looks slick, and I love how those buttons are highlighted too, similar to the OnePlus design. Love it or hate it, this original craftsmanship at least helps to set the Honor Play apart from the slew of other Honor smartphones we've seen in 2018. Seriously, I'm starting to get some serious deja vu from every handset that rolls into TechSpert towers. It's turning into a bit of a game of spot the difference for these massive notch display handsets. Of course, the Honor Play does share quite a bit of smartphone DNA with those other Honor handsets, including the now obligatory notch up top. This pokes ever so gently into that rather enormous 6.3-inch display, although you can mask it from view if you can't stand the thing, and it's not really visible in most apps that you'll use. The IPS display itself is much the same as every other Honor screen we've seen in 2018, if a little bit bigger. Visuals are pleasingly crisp thanks to that Full HD Plus resolution, and those colours are reasonably poppy too, with the option to scale them back if needed. Games, movies and everything else look absolutely lovely, while a powerful maximum brightness means you can happily use the Honor Play outside without furrowing your brow and squinting real close. Huawei's EMUI 8.2 overlay sits merrily on top of Android Oreo, adding some new features and tweaking existing ones. As usual, you get plenty of gesture support, including an essential one-handed mode. Seriously, you try stretching your thumb to the top of this bugger, you'll put it right out of joint. Even better is the face recognition, which neatly complements that rear-mounted fingerprint sensor. It's super quick and efficient, and even works well in dark environments. Of course, as Honor is billing the Play as a gaming phone, you can expect some features for gamers chucked into that mix too. Their game suite is present and correct, acting as a kind of hub for all of your downloaded titles. It can also dedicate the phone's available resources to your gaming session, although the Play's excellent performance means that isn't even necessary. More handy is the notifications blocker, which stops texts and other notifications from popping up on your screen and throwing you off your game. Although Facebook Messenger bubbles will still leap up at inconvenient moments like the massive they are. Amusingly, the Honor Play can also provide rumble feedback for supported games. These games are few and far between at the moment, but PUBG Mobile is on the list at least. It's quite a subtle vibration when you're firing your guns, and to be honest I didn't even really mentally register it at first. It's not exactly a game-changing feature, but I guess it's not designed to be something that you really pay attention to, it's just an extra layer of feedback. And as you'd expect from a gaming smartphone, performance is impeccable. I can play PUBG on top data levels with the likes of anti-aliasing? Aliasing? I can never bloody get that right. Anti-aliasing activated with a smooth frame rate throughout. That Kirin 970 chipset is already hitting its first birthday, but it's still a good grafter, helped along nicely by the 6 gigs of RAM. And of course, Huawei's GPU Turbo update is present and correct on the Honor Play as well. Much like the Game Suite's Performance Boost feature, this basically helps to keep your more intensive apps running without a struggle by diverting resources. Go check out my in-depth hands-on and benchmarking with GPU Turbo to see how it boosted the Honor 10's performance with PUBG to a really smooth, nice frame rate. Battery life on the Honor Play is perfectly solid too, as is pretty much standard for these big Honor blowers these days. You'll get a full day of use quite comfortably, even if you're rarely off the thing, while a full-on PUBG session is possible for a good few hours at least. At this kind of price point, it's definitely rare to find anything better. So what about that camera tech? Well, the Honor Play boasts a similar setup to the Honor 10 flagship, complete with the same features such as Huawei's Smart Scene Recognition, which of course it loves to call an AI mode for whatever reason. Slapped on the back you'll find a dual lens snapper, quelle surprise. That consists of a 16 megapixel f2.2 primary lens backed by a basic 2 megapixel depth sensor. And around the front you'll also find a 16 megapixel selfie cam to shoot that lovely beautiful mug of yours. I've done a full review of the Honor Play's camera tech over on Recombu, so go check that out for full photo, video samples and everything else you need to know. So in conclusion, the Honor Play helps to set itself apart from the rest of the Honor clan with a few smart features and little design tweaks. However, what we really love is the fantastic value it offers, under 300 quid for top performance, some really slick features, great media chops and the rest. If your budget is around that £300 price point, then this is definitely a serious contender, even if you're not really that big into your games. So what do you think of the Honor Play Player Edition? Definitely let us know in the comments down below. Are you tempted by it? Have you got it? And are you still satisfied? Definitely be interested to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to poke that subscribe button for more on the latest and greatest tech, including, of course, Honor smartphones. Love you, bye!